Welcome to the Fukaru Super GT, and we are in a very heated battle of racing tonight. And the reason is because Agent is still here. And if you'll notice, Juxury had an award ceremony that he's going to be going to tomorrow. Has nothing to do with Atomic or Fukaru. And guess what? He is not here tonight, as you can obviously see. We actually do have one person in attendance to watch tonight. Which is perfectly fine. So if anybody else wants to come in and just watch the races for the first one, they can. The par time tonight is 1 minute and 36 seconds. And as you can tell here, we actually have... I thought he was going to be using a Ballista Compact tonight. Instead, he's using the Velier... How do you pronounce that? The Velier... Yeah. So anyway, that's going to be the car that's going to be to watch, because I think he's got it. But yeah, if he was running a Ballista Compact tonight, he was actually going to be running with a sponsorship. So, but since he didn't. So, which is unfortunate. I was hoping to have the Ballista. Well, so there you go. I have to remember to tell everybody the rules as we go back over and start the race tonight. There's Agent in the lead, Death Percepshun, and RPM and MRoyal and BROZ. Looks like it's already going to be a heated race as these guys come into the first turn here. RPM is using a Rapid GT, has already complained about that. MRoyal is got, wow, okay. It's going to be interesting to see that car, what it does. And it's also going to be interesting to see how these cars handle the lap time today, which is actually, I'm going to say, kind of slow. And the reason is we tested a certain way with certain cars. Last week, you'll notice that the cars didn't get up to the speed that they needed. Oh, a little tapping up front here. RPM with that Rapid is going to be a top speed guy. But last week it was a lot easier because everything was very top speed oriented. This race has heavy technical turns. As you can see, some of them are kind of sweeping lefts, and some of them are just like this up here. As you can see how this turn loops around, it's tricky to see how that works. And see how do you perform that. The Elegy Retro Custom does a really good job with it, while other cars not so much. And since they're very good at it, cars that are normally not as fast are going to have some difficulty with it. So we're having a BROZ RPM fight just behind us here, and we're going to drop over to BROZ. RPM will be happy because he thinks that we stare at him all the time, which we do, but don't let him know that. So here's our lap times: 140s, 140s. Remember, the par time for tonight is 136. People who drop below the 136 marker end up losing points. It's the only handicap system that we have in the universe for GTA, because most GT style events use some sort of fuel limiter or gauge limiter that doesn't allow the cars from intake or fuel. You fuel so much with Super GT, and with this setup, there's no real way for us to do that. So the only way to do that is to use a par time to slow the cars down. And as you can see, that puts us into some very cool driving events, because people use cars that are not standard or normally used in racing. But it also allows them to use any car they want. If you want to use a Pariah, you can use a Pariah as long as you stay within that par. And BROZ is off the line there. Oh, crashing. He has pulled it back together. And Death actually, we actually have our first spotter tonight, as you can see. We do have Mischief Made. She is actually the spotter for Death Percepshun. And it's pretty cool. people are getting serious about this racing, and for good reason. I consider it, and I know a lot of people share this with me, the most professional racing organization that we have. There's actually 2 leagues that we run in. Fukaru Super GT is actually my baby. I made this actually before AWC came out, but it wasn't as smoothed out. I like to take like a lot of credit for it, if you will, but AWC was actually the first one to actually get a 10 lap race, and allowed us to really test out the points and see if everything that we worked out. So even though Fukaru was effectively, Wonder Sport, the first event to actually be a race, AWC was the actual first one to get put together, have a race, put everything together, and be the full deal of what it should be. So the credit goes all to Sneaky Giraffe, who put that together, and then I helped him out with the points and make sure the system worked out well. And he actually has, like, for this, we set the par time. When it comes to them, they actually have qualifying times and qualifying laps, and everybody gets put together. So Death is the first guy that I've seen so far that's actually put together the big setup here, and well deserving. So we're gonna move back to, I want to give everybody a chance to see a little bit of everybody in the race today that came out. And the first time we're going to see is MRoyal. And this is the thing that I saw was very interesting, because he's racing this car, but this was not the car he said he wanted to use. But actually, I thought this was a pretty good car when it came to the sport class. It probably would not have been. Okay, so wow, right on the 136. Look at that. You couldn't get any closer to not hitting that par time with a 136.003, and both wheels came off. So I'm saying if he's gonna play, there's Rapid GT pulling up 138s 39s. We're gonna move back over to BROZ. If that was The Price Is Right, he won. I'm pretty sure right up front at a .003 that somebody couldn't get a 3,000th of a second fastest. So BROZ is all out by himself, but he's got some people up there. So let's move up to Agent. And this is where the real battle's happening right now. And he's going to have to make up some distance here with the guy that is literally ruling first place right now. There he goes. And that was actually, if you had placed money on this race beforehand, I really would have went with this car having the stomach tonight to really crush some times. But I did not see that Comet Retro, and I think that he put a little bit of emphasis into making sure that car was set up before he showed up tonight. I mean, look at the edges that he's putting on. I mean, 136.003. You can't get any closer. I believe it's fourth. So that is putting on the edge. And I think that Death is actually, I think he might get a little bit worried about how close he's getting to that edge, because he's kind of slowed down a little bit. But I've never had anybody come that close to par. It was amazing to see that really just tap in the edge. That was like passing somebody and actually trading paint due to osmosis. That's how close that is. So, and I'm sure Agent is, and this is where it gets, somebody gets that forward momentum, puts themselves way out in front like that. You can't even see him now. And that's the thing is how do you compete against that once you get up there? Do you push too much or not hard enough, or how does that work? So let's jump over to RPM real quick. I love watching RPM. RPM is in that Rapid GT, which is, if anybody's ever raced that car, it is a tough car. But he does the stuff to challenge himself. and he does a really good job of, again, dropping over the edge there. MRoyal right behind him. MRoyal, unfortunately, tonight not getting the car that he wanted, which I kind of feel bad because I think he would have been a lot more competitive tonight. But that's okay, because showing up to the game is enough to get you some points. Just showing up alone, and with the amount of players we have tonight, I think the worst you can get is 5 points. Yeah, the worst you're going to get is 5 points. And that is, I mean, that's going to be a big move on a points leader who is currently not here, which is a big deal for Agent, even coming in second tonight. He has a lot to earn from this race. And I wish him luck with it, because he's put a lot of emphasis into it. RPM jumping on the line again. Agent actually is the current leader of Most Wanted. So those of you who knew I was in it before, I actually stepped down from leadership so I could focus on stuff like I'm doing right now. It may look really easy to talk into a microphone, and you know, if that's your thing, that's probably what you're good at. But putting together these races, you know, you have basically for 3 races, I have to put together a lot of stuff. I have to create a race. I have to find races, and then I have to you know, put together the points and all that other stuff. And it usually takes an entire day to get everything together for just, you know, the one part that we're doing. This is actually going to be a long race tonight, which is great. And if you wondered where I went, RPM asked me how many points he's lost tonight by going over. Because one of the things is if you go, both wheels go over the side of the race, you lose the track, you lose 2 points. So, yeah, I know you can. So he's asking how many points he's lost tonight, and he's lost 4, I believe. So probably more, but I mean, he's taking Rapid GT. So I got an idea for you. And for those of you who are going to be watching this on YouTube, if you have sympathy or pity for RPM driving a Rapid GT tonight and put in his blood, sweat, and tears to have a fun race tonight, we'll jump over to him real quick. And if you believe that RPM should get a break from getting a 2-point deduction because of the car, you can make your comments on YouTube, and we will consider making his points less painful. How's that? Yeah, for everybody that subscribes, I'll give RPM. I'll take one of the deducted points off of RPM. How's that? See, people are now saying they're going to unsubscribe. Oh man, too funny. Actually, they can't hear me now. I was actually doing that so they could hear it, but I really like RPM. RPM is a very consummate driver. I really like him being a part of the stuff that we have done. He puts a lot into it, so we're happy to have him. He has beaten part-time on many times. He has raced in both the Pro and the GT class for AWC and GT 500 and GT 300. And he has proven that he is... Death Perception has hit a 135.787. So, Death Perception is now not feeling very good because he has dropped 2 points and moved up to the GT 500 class for this race. And I think he knew he could do it. But that's gonna hurt him down the road, because now he can't get his bonus for top lap speed. Wow, our masterful Agent Ranger, who is gunning for the Juxtree position tonight, has now moved himself into a interesting. So in second place, he'll have 12 points. Who is that behind him? And that's at BROZ. And here is BROZ coming in for a quick pass. BROZ came in and stealing that position from him. Almost moved 2 laps over. Oh, right on the edge. And there's Agent losing that position. 137. Oh, look at these. Evened up with BROZ. And he is pushing it right now. And this looks like it's going to build up to a fight here. BROZ has taken the gloves off. It's too bad he didn't end up the Ballistic Compact tonight. Maybe he could have moved himself over to getting a sponsorship and getting some extra points. And 2 points off. No! Agent takes the position away. And he also gets a point. See, now you think that's great. BROZ moves over. If he gets into that position, now he's lost points from that position move. Almost over again. He is pushing hard. Oh, look at that. He's just throwing that thing full speed off the rails. Tons of momentum, but that belly, look at the license plate that he has there. It's without a question to know who is driving that vehicle. I'm waiting in current anticipation to see that Velier trying to pass that Elegy Retro Custom. Agent is taking every line with every piece. And there he goes. He's got a ton of momentum. He's coming on that outside line. Is he going to be low? Doesn't want to get moved over off the lap. This has turned into a fierce battle. BROZ is taking the outside line. Agent's kind of pushed into him. A little tapping and rubbing going on. He's got that outside, but he's got him. Wow, that's going to be turned into a battle right there. It's the thing is with the speed and the Velier, is he going to be able to move around these edges? Yeah, he's taking it clean, but he loses. You can tell he loses a lot of momentum as he moves around the corner. But okay, we're going to move right back to Death Perception here. It looks like BROZ is taking that position. This is kind of and I hate to say it, this is the disappointment of the night. Just because he's got that 135, it really is one of those things of saying that once you pop over, you're already popped over. All the points are combined into a total score. But you just going over that 136, you get so many more points crashed into you that it's kind of depressing. We're going to move back over to RPM one more time here. I want to see where he's at. And yes, we are running Raw and tight. So those of you who are thinking, wow, this race is running a little bit wide tonight. There is a reason for that. Basically, Rockstar did some changes in the way the game was. And unfortunately, they locked the laps into being between 1 and 7 laps unless the track is designed to be more. So this track is designed to be 30 laps long, and that means if we change the 30 laps, we're going to be down to 7 laps. And if we do the 7-lap thing, it ain't much of a race. So we decided tonight to link into the 30-lap chain. So currently we are 12 laps and 20 minutes in, and we have 30 laps to go. So we're going to move right back over to BROZ. I've seen you. All right, there's BROZ. Oh! This is becoming a battle here. These guys are really just trading off, and BROZ has had some unfortunate events of moving off the track with this car. So he's going to need that extra position there to keep the spacing that he needs. Keeping Agent back will put him back, so second place would get 12 points. With the times he's moved off the tracks or spent too much time on the curves, he's actually had a couple of points deductions already. So that would leave him from 12, probably even below the points that Agent's going to get for the race. So the question is with Agent's 10, if he's stuck the way it is, he's going to get the 10 points plus his additional 2 for best lap. So that'll put him up to 12. He'll still probably get a solid second position. Yeah, I think that BROZ is going to end up draining all his points off just by getting. Once you get both wheels off onto the curb like that, on all four wheels are off onto a curb, it's a point deduction. So you guys, I'm not saying anything to him, but if you watch, you can just do the math. And of course, Death going over the top speed there. That's what kind of just hurt him right off the bat. So even though he'll get 15 points, he'll get a 2-point deduction. So they'll bring him down to 13 just to start. And Agent will go up to 12. And since we have 5 racers, the multiplier for GT500 and GT300 is ×5. Oh, and if you want to look up all the rules for this, it is on FukaruSportGT.weebly.com. And as you can see there, he went off again, so that's another point deduction. So again, it's FukaruSportGT.weebly.com. And in case I didn't say it right the first time, FukaruSportGT.weebly.com. We had to change the website when we started it. To make sure it was original. Is that the word I'm looking for? Yeah, original. And here's BROZ with Agent bearing down on him still. Hey, he's still hungry for it. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up with him, but he's definitely going to give it a shot. And that's the old college try. Let's look at what we got for 137. That's 137, man. It's right on. So perfect for where, I mean, like, so when you're making a Fukaru Sport GT car, you don't want to grab a pariah and say, okay, we're going to throw this car out and now we're going to be the fastest, because that'll end up getting. We had one person join the Fukaru. If you go back and look at some of the videos, you'll see somebody that actually beat the par time by like 8 seconds or 5 seconds. That's what it was. They got a 10-point deduction. As we can see, BROZ there, both wheels off the edge again. Got a 10-point deduction during the race. And that 10-point deduction, of course, if you had 15, puts you at 5 points. That means that anybody who's racing is going to end up getting better points than you. So, and that was the thing is that's how we do this, so that it'll remain competitive, is to hold people into it. So, sure, you can get a pariah and run pariah, and I've seen people have the idea of running the pariah before. But if you're running a pariah, you need to do something like, you need to take off one of your your bonuses, like run the car stock, for instance. Like Pariah, you probably rent stock and probably get it into that par time, and that takes a little bit of getting used to. So as you can see, Death put his car together, and it kind of like, okay, that car looks right, but that's really not going to get him the bonuses, because he's already, he's gone so close that he went over. And once you go over and you get points deductions, any of those, going too far off of a lap or going too far off of spacing, that really is going to try to hurt you. I mean, at this point, the reason we're following Agent is because he's currently got more points than BROZ and our points leader, right? Or first position person right now, who slipped over into the GT 500s. And that's the thing is that's how everyone competitive. So when I look at the end and I say, okay, how many people are being competitive with their car, we'll make sure that we're getting the right person the trophy. So yeah, so when you're setting up your car up, I mean, one of the things that I like to do is kind of do that middle range car. The Comet Retro, as you can see, is really good for that. And it's hard for me to say which ones are in the middle. There's the list of sports. I forgot the number. I want to say there's 45 cars in the sports section right now. It is immense, and being competitive can be a tough balance, but in the same respect, it can be a rewarding balance, if you will. So let's say you got your Penumbras and you've got your Ballistic Compacts. Those cars are not going to be as good. He's having a tough time, isn't he? But yeah, so meeting in the middle is really what we want to be, and I think it's funny that you see cars like the Banshee, for instance, and here's the Banshee doing a 138. Is he running the car not fast enough? He probably is doing a really good job with it, but does the Banshee have a better top speed than some of the other cars? So that's the thing is, do you have what it takes to be in the Fukaru Sport GT? That's a question I'd have to ask for each person to find out if they can. But regardless, we would love to have you on. And for those of you watching YouTube right now, don't forget to like and subscribe. We will be I'm trying to put these races on Twitch. I don't want to put them live because some people actually kind of look at the other races, but I'm probably going to go back to Twitch once I get... my computer had some trouble, unfortunately, and it put itself in a kind of a problem with the processor, so that the heat was wrong on the internals of it, which means that my system overheats and won't be able to. That's why I can't stream and record at the same time. I got a lot of fuzzy blur with the coverage that we had. So unfortunately, I had to rethink the system, to go back and do some testing and ended up ordering a new piece, which will be in tomorrow. So hopefully that'll all work itself out. And when we come back to the next race, I can Twitch and record at the same time, which will be perfect. I also don't like some of the delay. You press the button for recording and you don't get the recording right off the bat. It kind of delays, and I don't like that. So let's see how BROZ is doing, and then we'll jump over to Death Percepshun to see how far his lead is. Love the look of that car. It's too bad. The Valier was a nice car when it came out, He got a 136 with that right up on the edge. The Velier was a great car when it came out. Was a little bit confused with how it handled, off the wrap again, how it was set up and how it handled. I expected it to be a little bit more performance oriented, based on the car that it was kind of based on. But it didn't really push out the way I'd wanted to, and that's kind of unfortunate. So I think that Death Perception is going to have a linchpin on this race today, and he did a really good job of it. And he's kept his time down to that 135, which is good because he can still get his two. He's still going to get the point deduction, but at least he's, you know, maintaining a that brutal top speed when he can. And again, this was kind of a stunner tonight with the Comet Retro, that it being so good for this track, so well balanced. But it's definitely performed, and the car looks amazing. I have to commend him on, you know, a good GT style looking car. The amazing livery here. And I love it when it kind of has that good feel to it. I like the GT wings a little bit better, but, oh, locked up wheels here. Nice license plate too. I would love for GTA to add those ducktail wings in and have some real, you know, GT style cars. I think they kind of stay away from it. Look at that. So 10 to go. So how's it MRoyal doing? I find it funny that usually, especially when you do any kind of qualifying racing, the cars get really, really close together, which is great. But when it comes to, when you tell them what the part time is, and then they have to set the cars up right ahead of time and maintain it, it gets a lot more difficult. So, and then we see that cars get separated out, which is why we usually don't do more than 15 or so laps, because you already know who's gonna be where they're at. Right now, RPM is having a debate with BROZ, because BROZ is complaining because the Velier can't keep off the back wall because it's turning. But if you know anything about racing, notice that he's in a Velier. And then let's move over to RPM. And what car is he driving? The Rapid GT. Now, what does that mean to folks? If you don't know GTA racing, the Rapid GT used to be easily the fastest straight line car in the game. It was kind of like before the Banshee 900R came out. Everybody had their Rapid GTs for their drag runs. The problem is that the Rapid GT doesn't turn, for lack of a better line. It just doesn't. And it has issues. So I'm amazed that him keeping it on the track right now is amazing. Like, I'm just, wow. So just, that's the other thing is I'm on week 2 of being sick. If you guys heard it last week, a lot of people would have heard me probably sniffling and sneezing while I was doing stuff, and I'm probably still a little scratchy right now. But I'm first time today I actually started feeling better. I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to do the races today, but hey, we pulled it together and got these guys on the track, and I actually got some recording done. So I'm really happy about the what we got, and I'm actually happy with Happy with the turning. Death Perception with a solid. Oh, coming up on lap traffic. And wow. Barely misses RPM, who had spun out. RPM is saying he wants to get back on that lead lap. RPM wants it. He's already trying to pull in Death Perception. I don't know if that's going to work with that 138 versus a 135. That car can... the lead car is doing some numbers on this track today. I'm actually seeing the lapping around the track there. I'd love to have like a shadow or a ghost view, so I could kind of come up above the track and do the whole, we have a good view of the kind of the blimp view, if you will, as we cover the back end of the track there and kind of see from this position, how people are racing. And it's an excellent view to see, how much distance people are from each other. But a ghost view, like I've seen some of the other games, really has a really good way of hovering over the competitors and get me an idea of, where people are. And there's Agent. I don't even... Is BROZ gone? BROZ is just gone, isn't he? So my goal is we had a couple of races with 12 and 16 players. Oh, big slowdown. What I'd like to have is 21 players. We've had 12 and 16. And we've kind of settled around the 5 attendees players. I want to get into, because when we see some of the big competitive races, the most you see on the tracks is 21. And for in-class racing, that really would be a nice number. That's what I like to see here. And if you guys can make it happen, like I said, I'm looking for players that are like Death Perception. I mean, well, literally like every guy we have on the track right now would be good. And are willing to put the effort into a race to win and get some points. If we get the constant numbers that we're looking for, we'll be giving away cash cards for the races. And obviously coverage that we have in here is always great to get some invites. I know these guys do get invites to other racing organizations and stuff like that, because you can tell straight out that if they can hit a par time and they can race the way they're racing right now, amazing. Imagine what they were when they're uninhibited through some of the races we have out there with, the one class races, like they've seen the Comet races that Mondeler puts on. And so let's look at the laps here. BROZ at the 136. Oh, and wow, the MRoyal with the 136. Wow, that is impressive. Yeah, if he had got those times earlier. Remember we were having the discussion before, is the car, he came in here having not practiced on this car, and then he's pulled in and dialed that time in from now. And there's oh my gosh, is he catching up to Agent? Yeah, he is. Wow. That is crazy. So there's Death saying he's got to let off a little bit to get to that 135. MRoyal pushing the car. Can he catch up with Agent? Does he have the time to catch up with Agent? Is the real question. What's he got here? 136 to Agent, C 137. I don't know if he's still doing a 137, but everybody so far has falling into that 136 range. We're going to follow this. And RPM has had a technical problem that has dropped him from competition. We don't know what the problem was. What we kind of do is with the disconnects, we kind of fall into a what we call the racing role play. So if you disconnect, you'll be it's the last in, first out, but it's considered like, in other words, if you blew an engine and you went behind the wall. So he'll fall into the 5th position. Yes, you are allowed to respawn. It's kind of like the same as pitting. So BROZ is going to reset because he's had some problems with his car. I mean, he's been racing really, really hard. But we're going to follow this race right here. We're going to stay right with this because this is, again, I mean, Agent's been looking tonight to face off against Juxry's points, and I don't know if he's picked the wrong car today, because MRoyal is definitely bearing down on him and is potentially going to put him back in the 4th position. And is that the move? Nope, not quite yet. A little bit too much on the back end. Kind of pushed him back, even though he had the late braking. Agent's been able to get back in the throttle. MRoyal still going to be looking at that position. He's definitely got the faster car. Does that it? He's going to the inside. Nope, doesn't have it quite yet. And there's the inside. He's taking him on the outside. Leaned out. MRoyal is taking the position. There's the 135s, the 136s, and 137 of Agents dropped into the 4th position. So now the question is that what lap you on? Now the question is that Agents pulled back in. Yeah, so we're at the 27th lap, so 3 laps to go. And my view is gonna argue with me, so I'm gonna switch over to another car so I can see it that way. Dropping him to 4th. I'll put him for 7 for points. RPM's gonna get 5 points for the night for his position, guaranteed in last position. And you kind of think that, you know, if it hadn't been 30 laps tonight, Agent probably would have taken 2nd or 3rd position. But given time, MRoyal, even with the bad car choice, or with the choice that he didn't want, I'm thinking he's going to be a little bit, at least one position happier tonight. And now he is putting some distance between them. So let's move back up to depth perception. So this has been an exciting race tonight. Death, for one, especially early, really just took it and ran away with it, but trying to keep up with par time so he can keep his points deductions down did not pay off for him throughout the day. He had the right car, pushed it a little bit too hard, even came in with a pit crew tonight to make sure that he kept under par, but it becomes super hard to pay attention to both your lap time and your driving performance. BROZ today falling into the second position. Came out with his Valier with his the wrong car. He was going to come with a Ballista Compact tonight, come with a sponsorship. He was really expecting to power home today with a vehicle that would not be very competitive. In the same respect, he took the car, made some differences with it, caught back up, and has come back to the second position. Unfortunately, with a lot of off-track bantery with the damage to his car and some of the problems he's had tonight, his point scores, especially like right there, you know, moving off the track, etc., is going to cost him a lot of points. Like there it is again, and unfortunately, it's gonna. Even with his second place position, he'll be lucky to come out tonight with even any points at all, which is unfortunate. Oh, moved to the wrong person. Well, we'll stay in this position because this is a good position to stay in. First off, up in the Banshee right there is MRoyal, who started off tonight picking the wrong car other than the one he wanted to use. He was able to keep a nice, solid, low-end speed, but keep him with the pack. Finally, in his last couple laps, he was able to pull off some higher times that the Elegy Retro Custom just wasn't able to, and come back into the third position. Agent Ranger started off with a solid second position, but with a good car and a good solid part-time car, as we can see there with the 137. But unfortunately, his opponents tonight brought their cars with a little bit closer to the edge, and with nothing to lose, were able to push it, put himself into the fourth position tonight. Agent has run a very clean race today, and chances are we'll end up doing very well in the points today with the points deductions that some of the other racers have had. He is on par to compete with Juxury for the top points position tonight, with Juxury losing all the points from not being available due to an Honor Society event that he has, and losing control. Will Agent be able to take back that position? Goes towards the outside. But on the outside, can he hold it? Yes, he moves to the inside and takes the position away. But how long can he keep it? He needs to be able to hold it for at least a lap or two. And that's going to be a good question. The last person, which you may not see on the list right now, unfortunately, did not make the end of the race, was RPM, who came tonight in a Rapid GT, realized very early on that he had picked the wrong car for the race, and was holding his position pretty well before mechanical failure took his Rapid GT. I guess pushing it too hard is what happens, and I ended up out of the race tonight, and he's going to be holding on to that fifth position. Even then, he took a couple of hits from going off track, so we're just going to have to see where his points end when it's all said and done. MRoyal still looking for that overtake right now. And we're definitely going to be close. I'm actually going to think I'm going to stay with these guys towards the end here. We already know that Death Perception is up there and BROZ is up there. So this is really the big battle right now. MRoyal takes the inside, takes the position away from Agent almost fluidly, or should I say easily. Goes to the inside, but Agent's going to take it right back. If you were at the finish, yeah, just finish. Thank you. Thank you. So Death is taking that. That's the end of the lap there. So here is the big battle royal race to the end. And this is all going to be about lines, I'm thinking. MRoyal has some problems with that corner. We may have a countdown at the end here. If the other guys leave, nope, there it is, right there. There's the finish line. And that's how it's going to end tonight. Incredible race from some incredible drivers. I want to thank you guys for all tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click that bell so we can be reminded of whenever new stuff comes around, and we will see you next week.